All right, guys, welcome to the Free Comic Day show for 2023. It is May 6th. I am broadcast Eastern Standard Time about 10:26. We have a big hike coming up tomorrow, and I cannot sleep, so I figured I'd show what we did today. Basically, hooked up with my brother. We go back to comic book collecting decades and decades. Yeah, the Mouse brothers were out and about. We hit Mount Empire Comics in Bristol, Tennessee slash Virginia, right on State Street. And then we went out to Johnson City, and they have a flea market there. Hey, John, see what's up, man. And we hit a few things there, and we're probably going to plan another trip, man. We had a really good time, a lot of great food, a lot of great traveling. And on the way back, we started hitting a lot of great music and stuff, just playing around and stuff, right? So before I get to the haul that came up, I'm going to show you, I guess, some eBay things. I think I got this at the dollar store. Let me see what's in here. Hopefully I'm not double dipping here and stuff, right? But anyway, one of the cool things that I can say about the speculation channels that gets a lot of people, they'll get between 12,000 and 20,000 views on their top 10 books of the week that you need to go out and get. And then when they have a video about anything else, they're lucky to break 700 views and stuff, right? So that just kind of tells you about some of the greed out there and stuff now, right? But whatever, each its own and stuff. But while they're doing that, I am looking up things and buying things that nobody else is really chasing and stuff because they're so focused, right? And one of the things I ended up getting that was pretty cool on eBay, real quick, I wanted this. I didn't get the mini series. Boom Studios, IDW, these companies have a lot of, and they've had them for years and years and years, a lot of great licenses, right? Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, that sort of thing, King Kong, a lot of great pop culture stuff, right? And this apparently was a Loot Crate exclusive, if you remember Loot Crate, right? But I got this for like less than $5 on eBay. It is the trade where we had Kong on the Planet of the Apes, the entire miniseries, Loot Crate exclusive, or the edition of, or Loot Crate, if you will. But anyway, this is fantastic. This picks up after the end of the original Planet of the Apes movie with Charlton Heston, and all the apes are going to blow up the Statue of Liberty, wipe out history. We want to control history and stuff, right? And one of their scouts comes back rolling down the beach and stuff, flipping out because they have to come see what it is. And it's a Kong, not King Kong. A Kong has washed up dead. They dissect it. They get on a boat. They travel across the Atlantic and they find Skull Island. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. Finished the first chapter. I'm enjoying it. If you like your Planet of the Apes, if you like your Kongs, if you like monkeys in general and apes in general and things like that, you want a little bit of comic book fun, a little light reading with some neat stuff in it, this would be it. The artwork is phenomenal in this, I think. Uh, I know I've seen this guy's line work before. Fantastic stuff. I mean, he draws apes. They are the apes. Coloring is actually really good with it. Some great covers. You get all the alternate covers. Carlos Maho, I don't know, and Ron Ferrier do all of this stuff, right? So it's really good stuff, man. Some great covers in there and stuff, right? Really been enjoying this. Good stuff, right? These next two, I think I got these out of dollar boxes, and I swear I had some more, but who knows where they are and stuff. Been doing a little bit of traveling for work and things. Found this one shot, Amazing Heroes, where they collect exclusive Kelly Jones and DeForest Kelly, if you know who that is, interviews and stuff, right? So yeah, I love these old comic news magazines. I'll grab them left and right. And then I about laughed about this one with James Gunn doing the Superman Legacy movie, and he was pulling from All Star Superman by Grant Morrison, putting his little pictures there on Twitter with him at the typewriter and having the trade open of All Star Superman and stuff. I found the variant. I already have those. I bought those when they came out, a 12-issue miniseries of All Star Superman that was like supposed to be the core and epitome and everything that makes Superman Superman. playing around with the legacy and stuff, and I found the Neil Adams variant cover. For a buck, I was like, "Well, what do you know?" And then these next two are eBay finds, along with the Kong, and this next one, Underground Comics, if you will. Von Bode has been I don't know, an inspiration. I don't want to say I was like, so I'm a fan. Uh, he passed away in 75. I think it was his brother or his son took over, or both, or I usually know this stuff off the top of my head, but it's late. And Mark Bode came back and played around with his style. They've had a lot of stuff out there on the underground, but I think they're best known for Wizards magazine doing their style. Um, and Wizard magazine, the Ralph Bakshi Wizard cartoon from 1977, I believe. And then they were an Epic magazine with this character, Cobalt 60. And then in the early 90s, I believe, who's this? Kitchen Sink Press? Tundra, excuse me. Tundra came out with a 4-issue miniseries, if you will. So I have issue 1 and issue 4. I need 2 and 3. But this is fantastic post-apocalyptic stuff. And if I remember right, you have Cheech Wizard, the Lizard, a bunch of other things, but this is post-apocalyptic stuff done in Bode style. And if you get on YouTube, you can find Bode talking to a college class while he shows, while they're sitting there and they're screening clips of his comic strip and stuff, and it's very hippie-ish and very psychedelic all at the same time. But I believe I can't remember if it was Cheech Wizard or Cobalt 60 here, that he was doodling this character in high school, a little ahead of his time, when you consider high school was probably during the 50s, early 60s and stuff, right? We got a tape issue here, so bear with me. That's what I thought. So these next two books are very cool. I passed them up, and I swear I thought these were tabloid size, right? They're still oversized, and there's 2 of them. And I knew I messed up not buying them in 1995, even though I'm a huge Frank Miller, Jeff Darrow fan, especially with Hard Boiled. But I passed them up. I didn't know how I was going to be able to take care of them. And when I found these for cheap, super cheap, free shipping, if you will, I just had to buy them, and they're in pretty good shape. I'm looking at this corner here. I think something happened while I was not home. Looks like it was dropped, but other than that, it came in fantastic shape. But there was only 2 of them, and I had to get them, right. So, but I knew I messed up. That's what I was going to say. I think it was in 1999, 98, something like that. But on Fox, we got a season that of a cartoon of this Big Guy and Rusty the Robot. I about fell down when I saw it. I recognized the animation studio for some other stuff they had done before that. But anyway, Big Guy, Rusty the Robot, the highly detailed and fantastic artwork of Jeff Darrow. Of course, this had to be oversized, but yeah, I got both of them. And I remember them being bigger, not quite. As you can see, something's happened here when I wasn't home. This has been dropped since I got it. And that's horrible, because I have pictures on Instagram where I can go back and look, and I can tell something happened. I guess they just didn't think I would notice, and it's all the way through. So yeah, this definitely got dropped. Anyway, but fantastic artwork in here. Got a kaiju, and of course we have our heroes that are going to save the day. But yeah, and number 1 and 2, very glad to get these. A lot of these books are reading so much better than what I remember from back in the day. I'm not the only one. I've had several talks with people where my brother even heard that the New Universe books are starting to get a little bit of buzz, and I wish we talked about that more. So he has his finger on the pulse always since he was a kid. He just buys what he likes, and he always seems to have his finger on the pulse of things that are going to pop. And he's heard a buzz about the New Universe. On this channel, I have said that with the state of a lot of modern comics, and people run from me like hell sometimes on these channels, the modern books for the last couple of years, and with the collectors that I see out in the real world and some of the dealers also, they're just not real pumped about the last couple of years of comics. And I made the comment that it makes the New Universe read like Shakespeare sometimes with some of the stuff being put out. And now my brother's heard there's some kind of buzz going on. That's bizarre to me. Oh, who we got here? John C. Be like, I always say this, man. John C is the role model. Be like John C's. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell to get alerted when I do this stuff, right? Comic Book G Man, how are you doing, brother? Looking good, looking good. John C. Planet of the Apes looks interesting. I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan. I was too, big time. Flash Gordon, Star Wars, Planet of the Apes, hand in hand. Little Buck Rogers, just because of the era I was growing up in. All right. Okay. So let's see what else we have here. Now, some of this stuff, I actually got a few great deals because after I picked my comics, the comic book shop in question had a display up, and they had little index cards, if you will, flipped over, and they put a number on every one of these, on one of each of the free comic books that you can get on Free Comic Book Day. And you were limited to 3, but he was like, hey, if you want 4 or 5, whatever, I'll work with you. Then the rest of the store, he had several sales going on. You could have got new comics off of his wall. 30 comics, $30. Made him $1 a piece, but you got to buy 30. 20% off on this stuff, 30% off on something. I think his back issues were 20% off, which is why I got a few things. But the Free Comic Book Day stuff I got, I have boxes and boxes of free comics from Free Comic Books Day going back to the very beginning, just scattered in some of my boxes. And I got some that I couldn't give away and stuff like that. So I'm real picky about what I get. I've gotten great stuff and I've gotten crap on Free Comic Book Day. But hey, it's more for the kids and it's more for getting people to sample a comic, isn't it? But as you can see, I went straight for Tom Holland's Fright Night. I thought this was cool. I am a huge Fright Night fan from the day. I've got a thing about 80s movies. It doesn't matter. I watch all sorts of genres, all sorts of movies. I love my Hitchcock stuff. But, even the worst 80s movie is better than some of the best stuff that's been coming out in the last couple of years. Um, Ghostbusters of 2016 or whatever that was. That was horrible. Anyway, and then you always have to get Nightmare on Elm Street. There's certain things. Dark Crystal, Nightmare on Elm Street, Labyrinth. Stuff like this when it comes out, I'll enjoy it. The Battle of the Pumpkin King. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Of course, you have to get that. And then I'm sure this is a reprint. I kind of flipped through it. I like the paper quality of this. These are sort of flimsy and fall in on themselves and wave. And this feels like it has a bit more of a higher paper stock or something, but a weight to it. And Conan is a staple in Hallermouse Hacienda. Casa Hallermouse. Mouse Manor. Conan is huge there. So those were kind of cool to get. Yeah, all right. And then we got some back issues there. And some of these, we also hit the flea market. Let's not forget that. I hit a few things in the flea market. So some of these are in order and some aren't by where I bought them. So we'll start here. I thought this was very cool. Okay. But times have changed. Times have changed. Things that were risque, taboo, edgy, in the late 80s and early 90s, probably come off pretty tame now, right? But you had this dude named Howard Chaykin, who came in and did this very risque book called Black Kiss. Now, I've never read Black Kiss. Okay, I'm going to show you a cover here. This is number 9. But Black Kiss was supposed to be highly sexualized and things, right? And actually, I did not hear about Black Kiss until John Byrne's She-Hulk, Sensational She-Hulk, number 50, where as a joke, they were trying to find pencilers to take over for John Byrne, where he was leaving the She-Hulk book, right? She-Hulk was actually in Marvel Studios, walking around with, I don't know who it was, Renee Whitstatter or Greenwald. I don't know. He was walking around with people. She was walking around. And that's where you found out that John Byrne's She-Hulk book was actually a comic book that took place in the Marvel Universe. And they meet with the heroes like Fantastic Four and She-Hulk and stuff. And the seeds were planted back in the Silver Age for this with Fantastic Four a little bit and stuff, right? It just made sense. So that she got to see pages of all these artists, and they had Walt Simonson. He did a version of She-Hulk that was very Thor-like. The Frank Miller, where we got 2 pages of Sin City She-Hulk. And then they had 2 pages of an answering machine drawn in Black Kiss Howard Chaykin style. And I believe they even had an editor's note saying probably the grown-ups are the only one who are going to get this joke, right? So I now have, and what's wild is that this is bagged, but it is still sealed. And I'm assuming because of the adult content in it in 1989, if I'm guessing right, it was sealed. So this is a still sealed issue number 9 of Howard Chaykin's Black Kiss. I am sure there are people. Gore Vidal has showed up, so I am sure there are people who have read Black Kiss and were probably much more knowledgeable than I am. It just was not available when I was collecting comics, to me, not available to where I could buy it. Evening, Tim. I was surprised to see the Freak Brothers as a free comic book day. I as well. First time an underground comic has been included. I am conservatively going to say, yeah, I agree with you. That probably was the first time an underground comic was based on there. They have a cartoon show with, I think it's Pete Davidson and Roseanne. Why can I not think of his name? I've just watched him since Talking Heads did that video for Wild Wild World. Oh my God, why am I going blank? But anyway, they have some stars doing the voices of the Freak Brothers. When it comes to the drug culture of the 60s and 70s, I'm well documented that I'm just not a fan of it, even though there's some great art and stuff like that. But yes, I saw the Freak Brothers as a free comic book, and I just kind of shook my head and just went on. Oh, hey, Dinky Dot's here. I knew it was a Black Kiss. There you go. It was Black Kiss. That's what I'm saying. Black Kiss was sold in black bags. I still have my copies. Enjoyed it. I'm really wanting to read it. I enjoyed Chaykin. And just to show you that for after doing YouTube for years and years and years, there were channels I knew were not going to last. I actually remember there was this book at Image that Howard Chaykin did that was very controversial, you know. And so, you had a lot of extreme left people that had YouTube channels coming out there, and they were grabbing Howard Chaykin books without knowing who Howard Chaykin was, and they were doing hit pieces on him, acting like it was a comic book review. And I knew this one channel where it was a dude out of Tennessee, had the blue hair, and he got up there and was like, Howard Chaykin's stuff is garbage, man. This guy just rips off Frank Miller. He thinks he's the second coming of Frank Miller, and he made a fool of himself because he got bombarded with people trying to educate him that Chaykin was around before Frank Miller. Oh, some of the stuff you just remember with all this. And Dinky Dot, Black Kiss and Brat Pack were my favorite indie books. Cool, man. I have 2 issues of the Brat Pack to read. I've been warned that when Vetch did Brat Pack, and it was on one of these live shows, I was warned that he was in a very dark place and very bitter about how DC had screwed him over on his Swamp Thing run. So it's pretty harsh towards comics. Is the whole point of that. It was a venting. That's what I was told. Now, these next 2 and 3, before I ever read Harvey Picard or even had the name, Hallermouse played around with doing some comics and stuff, right? Basically high school, late 80s and stuff like that. And it turns out some of the stuff that I was doing was already done because of Harvey Picard, and done so much more brilliantly and better, So when I started finally getting around to reading Harvey Picard, and then the movie came out, it's just a few years later and stuff, if I'm remembering right. And then I was able to really get a hold of some more American Splendor and stuff like that. I absolutely love this stuff. I'm not saying that every one of them is a classic and stuff, but that's kind of the point. Okay. But anyway, I got a one shot of American Splendor through Dark Horse Comics on the job, which is very cool. I've never seen these. I got a shelf here somewhere with Harvey Picard comics and trades and stuff. And then I always wanted to get a hold of this because this came out in the mid 90s, I believe. But Unsung Heroes, just the cover alone is all I've ever seen of this. So I knew we were in for something, I don't know, man, something real, is what it feels like. So that's the 3-issue miniseries of that. And of course, as you can see, Very happy to get these 20% off. I may have gotten these for $1 or $2 a piece. I don't really remember. My brother and I had a great time going through the boxes and stuff, right? So yeah, fantastic stuff, man. Actual pictures. So it's going to be an interesting read, and I'm completely prepared to be either emotional or bummed out with what I'm suspecting. Now I got these at the flea market, and three of these I got three for $1, and then the other ones, I think I gave the guy 20. Right, I've dealt with the guy at comic book shows for years. I have his card. I'm probably going to be emailing him the next time I know one to Johnson City. But due to the weather, he said due to the weather and not having some shows to go to in the winter, he decided to get a booth at this flea market, and he said he's done very well. So I was able to make a little bit of a deal. Yeah, here it is. I think we're sort of in text here, right? I had an interesting talk with him because this has a printing error on it, and I really feel like reminding. I've said it before. I have to remember there's a lot of people coming into comics in the last 5 years, 10 years. Some comic, Stan Lee, I can actually give him credit for being absolutely right that every comic has the potential to be somebody's first comic and stuff, right? So this book is sort of kind of hot, or was hot. I really would rather just talk to X-Files fans. I was a huge X-Files fan from the get-go. 93, I actually wrote a letter to some some station that I was 20 years old, and I actually sent a letter to a local station, being one of those guys to bring back X-Files, because the thing got canceled there for a little bit in the first season. People kind of don't remember that. And then years later, I have it here somewhere in a box in another room, but I found it. But the X-Files actual first appearance in comics was in a TV guide. It's been talked about here before and on some live shows. But yet, if you get on your CLZ app and you talk to more modern collectors and stuff like that, they think this is the first comic book appearance of them. But this is part of the lot that I got for $20. But this is very interesting because I had to take it out. I don't know if it's showing up, but as you can see, that discoloration over the Topps logo and going down a little bit, it's a printing error. The paper is fine. There's no damage to this. This would actually be a almost a near mint copy, if it just has a printing error on it. So I was like, yeah, I'll get it since I'm getting this in a bundle, if you will, right? But I've been collecting the Topps books. There's so many books that read so much better now, and I think it's me that changed. They probably read fine the whole time, but there's so many books that I sort of like, kind of like rolled my eyes a little bit and stuff and everything because, the TV show was so freaking perfect. Why do they think they can capture it in a comic book? These won't mean anything. How wrong I was. They are enjoyable little stories and stuff, right? If you like X-Files, we'll get it. So yeah, X-Files #1 from Topps Comics. I don't know. I think I have 17 issues of this series. Who knows? And then, as I have looked at my age here, Scully forever. Yes, yes. Thank you, Gore. Scully ages like fine wine. I hate using a cliche, but when it's right, it's right. It was fun watching Harvey on David Letterman. Yeah, I was in high school, a little bit of middle school when that was doing, if I remember right. I've seen it, of course, on YouTube clips now. So yeah, I'm so glad you're here, Gore. That is awesome, man. Okay, so one of the first series that I read, and I didn't understand. I could understand not liking someone's artwork, but there were people that hated his artwork. It's Frank Robbins, and I thought he was perfect on this book. As a kid, I would, read comics. These 100-page specials and things would have reprints from the 40s and things in the back of them. From the the stepdad and the uncle had all these books in there. And then there was a little book. I still have the coverless comic now of the first one I read. It's it's got the Invaders. It's World War II, written by Roy Thomas, and it's got the Invaders, tied up. And there's a firing squad, and you got Hitler up on a balcony, and you got Union Jack bouncing down. Like, oh, I thought he was dead. It's got to be a ghost. Schnell, and all this stuff, right? And that just fell in love there. And then there was Master Man and Master Woman in the teens and stuff, right? So I've collected quite a few, and some of my friends have sent me random issues to complete the Invaders. It was one of the first books that I absolutely loved. Had the covers, the Gil Kane covers of Human Torch carrying Toro, and they're just embedded in my mind. That was good stuff when I was a kid, right? So at my age, I've usually I get these for $1 a piece and things like that. I hold out, I take my time. Well, this has been going on forever. I'm ready just to get the set done, and that's why I paid $20 for these 4 or 5 comics and stuff, right? But yeah, Invaders number 6 here, and of course it's got the Liberty Legion. I have a Liberty Legion hardback where it has Marvel 2-in-1 Annual, Marvel 2-in-1 The Thing meeting the Liberty Legion. It may have this story in it. I don't really recall, but it's a hardback over here, somewhere over here in Masters. I don't know if it's not a Masters work, but anyway, great stuff going on here. I absolutely love this stuff. The Red Raven, just Miss America. Roy Thomas bringing back some Golden Age characters there. But yeah, and it's a Kirby cover with Joe Sinnott of all things on this. Love this stuff, right? So we're just one book closer to completing it. Okay, one of these is an upgrade. Other one is I finally have the complete story. I think it's number 32 that I have. And it's actually got some kid took a wax pencil, if you know what that is, if you have a dad that's a carpenter or something, or whatever they use it for. He actually wrote his name across it. I feel a little bit of rolling on this one, but it's all right. I still got it and stuff, right? But over the years, and luckily, again, I want to be calling out some BS that you probably didn't run across, which is fine. And if you did, you probably just moved on and didn't say anything about it, or maybe you're going to remember and things like that. But there were people not that long ago trying to claim that these 2 issues, especially number 33, were Thor's first appearance. What they were doing was leaving out the word chronologically. If you read, this book takes place during World War II, and Adolf there has brought down Thor, and of course Thor doesn't remember this fight, just to let you guys know. But yeah, this is 20 years before his first appearance, or give or take a year or two there, right? And of course he's under the control of the Reich, and ends up not remembering this, because he's under their control or something. So yeah, Thor, get they did it for a little sales bump, is what I'm thinking. But an excuse to bring down Thor. He brought up down a Norse god to help him, with the war. Okay, now this is a little bit of a key book for Roulette. I've not quite understood, unless it's because of the Stargirl TV show. But JSA Secret Files and Origins number 1 is a key book because people were going crazy over the new hot girl. One more reincarnated version of her, if you will. And then the second one, this is number 2. The cover looks so much like the first one. You'd probably pass this up. And this is the first, I think, was it the gambler, the daughter of the gambler or something? Oh, look at me going blank. But anyway, it has Roulette in it, and she's a second generation villainess, if you will. And I enjoyed her. I think maybe some of the cartoons and some of the things she did, she sort of had gladiator style. She would get super beans and make them fight each other, and everybody would bet on who would win and who would not. I think she made it into the Bruce Timm Justice League verse, or there's a version of that somewhere. Oh, hey, Sequential Geek is here. How are you doing? Great. Fantastic to see you. Okay, and then I got this just to check it out. This is not the first appearance. This is not number 19. This is not 25, but this was one of the DC 52 books that I bought. This was part of a 3 for $1. Oh yeah, this was part of 3 for $1, 3 for $5. These were 3 for $5 off of some dude who just had comic books stacked up in the back, right? Moved on. But this was in there. He didn't really have 3 books I wanted. So I grabbed this one because this is one of the James Robinson came out during the DC 52 with Earth 2. Okay. It was sort of super. The whole premise is Earth 2 Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman were killed during an alien invasion or something. Huntress and Power Girl ended up, they thought they were sacrificed to beat the odds against this alien invasion or something. It's DC 52. If I'm wrong about this, I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? But I ended up getting the Huntress and Power Girl book. Did they call it Brave and Bold? I doubt it, because it had Paul Levitz and George Perez doing the first couple issues, and they were trapped on Earth 1. They didn't die. They got transported to another dimension, and the book was a little bit about them trying to get back to Earth 2. So we had a world where the heroes had to go on without the Trinity, and along the lines, we ended up getting this version of Superman. Number 19 and 25 are the hot books. Everybody's like, they're going to come out with a Black Superman story movie, and it may be a go, may not. I mean, I could care less, you know. So I wanted to check it out and check this guy out. I had the trades of, they ended this volume and came out with another volume where it was like a whole other World War going on, and they're following Dark Side. I think they were fighting Dark Side, if you will, Apocalypse troops and stuff. That's what they were doing. And then I got this, and I come to find out I had to do a little research because they did it wrong. Star Wars, well, they didn't do it wrong, but you have to be knowledgeable. There you go. Okay, let's you know. But anyway, Dark Horse came out with a series of books. Okay, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and this is part of the Return of the Jedi, which was called Infinities. And the whole concept is it's much like the JSA, the Justice League got nail. The Kents never found Superman, because when they got ready to go for their drive on the day that he was going to land, they got a nail in their tire and they had to fix the flat, and they didn't find Superman, and it changed the course of history. Well, that's what these Infinity 3-4 issue miniseries of Infinities, that's what they are. One little thing happens or changes, and we get a whole new version of the New Hope. We get a whole new version of the Empire Strikes Back, a whole new, you know, kind of like What If of Return of the Jedi. So this one says Star Wars and says Infinities. So I've got like 1, 3, and 4, the original Star Wars. I wished I'd never sold them. And then all of a sudden I get home and I start looking on the app and stuff, and it turns out this is Return of the Jedi Infinities number 4. And this was part of a toy. This came with a toy. So, and it makes sense because, like, you know, there's no number on it. There's no price. Just, well, it has a number on it, number 4, but there's no price on here and stuff. So this is actually Return of the Jedi Infinities, bagged with your toy, whatever that toy went. And of course, as you can see, there's advertisements for toys on the back, you know, so there you go. It's all right. I have a Star Wars box now mixed with G.I. Joe and Planet of the Apes and Transformers, you know, so that's going to go in there. Took a chance on something here. Okay. Got this for 20% off. I don't know, but this is from Sirius, a company that was very bold back in the 90s with Poison Elves and John Lasner, Michael's Dawn series, and you know, they had some pretty heavy books and stuff, right? And then of course you have Scary Godmother by Jill Thomas. You need to check out Jill Thomas because she does her books in watercolor. Over the years, I've seen her pop up on random YouTube channels, many not around anymore, where they were doing the original Google Hangouts live shows and stuff. And she was so cool, man. She found the last one I watched of her. She was actually working. So she had her camera, her phone pointed at her drawing table, but she found the rear view mirror to an old truck and she set it up to where you could see her face. So she was looking in the mirror, back at the camera, talking to everybody while we could watch her work and do watercolors, and it was fantastic. So yeah, I've wanted to check this out. I'm not going to say I have or have not read other Scary Godmother books. I've read her Beast of Burden, her Sandman stuff. Man, when it comes to, what is it? I get her, it's not that I get her mixed up with someone else, but there's a couple of these female artists that they all kind of merge in my head because they all worked with the same people. This could have been 2 guys, 2 girls, and a dog. And I still would have all got them all mixed up. You know what I mean? It's not because they're all ginger redheads, you know. But yeah, this looks very cool. A little Nosferatu there. It looks like with a witch or a Scary Godmother. So yeah, I like that Halloweeny kind of stuff, right? Now this was a surprise because I already went through this collection months and months ago. I showed where I bought Arkham Asylum, a hardback, and some 80s indie books and stuff because someone had passed away and their brother had brought his collection, which was immaculate. He had the original first print versions of a lot of black and white Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books in there. I mean, this guy was he was into the alternative comics as long as having a lot of keys and stuff, right? It was sad to find out he passed away. His brother brought him there, so I already went through that stuff, right? That was left over. So I'm flipping through that, and they still had what was left of the collection over there, and there's still some great alternative books from the 80s and 90s and stuff in there, right? But I just went ahead and got these because I have one issue, and I laughed. But something happened as I was flipping through the boxes. I saw this cover, and I went, "Oh my God, that's Sam Keith." Unmistakably Sam Keith from 1987 in Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters. So I went up there in the middle of the crowd that was all these little kids running around, and all these people had come into the comic book shop as we were going through the back issues in another room. And I just stood there patiently, took about 5 minutes, and I got a deal to where I got a buck a piece on these, right? So yeah, I have 1987 Sam Keith art in a riff or a homage or whatever you want to call it uh, of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have one or two issues of this already that I bought as a joke, just to say I have it, stick it with my turtles and stuff. Now I really do have to find it because we have Sam Keith art. He must have been inking. He was probably inking Mage. I don't know. Can't remember if he was inking Mage. I know he was working on Mage. He was inking the Manhunter series, a short-lived Manhunter series around this time, I guess. And apparently he was doing doing all kinds of stuff. I really need to get his bibliography out and see everything that he was working on, because apparently he was putting some stuff out before he got to Sandman and then took off and did all this stuff, right? But anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna, solely for the art. Solely for the art. Here's the last issue. Apparently there were just 9 issues of this, and they came out sporadically for years. So yeah, I really dig Sam Keith's artwork. Really harkens back to like Arthur Pseudonym, a little bit of Von Bode. You can see the influences in there, yet it's brilliant and all his own. So while I was there, I just went ahead and got these as well. Some 3D books. Apparently, well, who was this? Yeah, Eclipse. Apparently, Eclipse had a series where, even though this is like number 3 and this 3D book is number 1, apparently they are listed in my CLZ app as like a 30 issue series where all the books were different characters, and they were all 3D. It's like a 3D series. Of course, it says that 3D glasses are included. They're not in here, but believe me, there are many 3D glasses sprinkled throughout this house, and some DVDs and some other comics and stuff, right? Yeah, 3D glasses are not a problem in this house. All right, we'll go see what we're getting here. All right. Thanks for everybody that is out here. Again, hit that thumb, give it a like, share it, subscribe, hit the bell, definitely, right? So now, with the passing of George Perez a few years ago, I really am not being dramatic here, and I am not giving hyperbole. I'm not being weird about anything like that, but I really had to prepare myself knowing that George Perez was going to pass away. Talk about people enhancing your younger years and going through their art and buying their books consistently for 30 years or more, right? Some of the first Avengers I probably owned and things like that were Perez stuff. We're going back to the 70s when I was a little kid and stuff, right? Met him at Heroes Con. So glad I did, right? But in the 90s, he jumped out there and came out with his own creator-owned book when everybody was deciding to do it, thanks to that image boom. And he had sax and violins, which you can see as a play on certain words and stuff, right? 4-issue miniseries. I had issue 2 and 4, and amazingly, number 3 was the only one in the box. So I now have the complete miniseries. I can read it. Okay. This was quite a find, man. This is for the seasoned veterans out there. This is going to be for the knowledgeable collectors out there, the aficionados, if you will, right? Because when I saw it, I got this solely because this is the works of Wally Wood and Steve Ditko, and there may be some other legends in there. But this is from 1969. There's only two of these made. And I swear I think I've seen somebody else with this, but I have no idea. But I don't understand why, for a Silver Age book, why this thing isn't, worth. I don't know what it's worth. I didn't look it up, but it should have been worth more. I shouldn't have got this for like $1 or whatever, right? But it's Heroes Incorporated presents Canon. And like I said, it's Wally Wood, some Wally Wood art, if you're a big EC fan. The Misfits, Dragonella, and like I said, is that going to focus? There we go. And like I said, it's Wally Wood. They had a Thunder Agents book. I think it was like number 8 or 9 for $18, but the thing was just too beat up for me to take a chance on it. This was $10 at 20, so $8 at 20% off. But I had to get this. This is number 5. They didn't make many more of these. And speaking of, maybe this was from the same collection somebody brought in. But Beware the Creeper, Silver Age, Steve Ditko. Oh, that's so. Yeah, early appearance of the Creeper, man. So yeah, thanks to Adventure Comics when I was a kid, doing some of the reprints when they were digest sized. Oh, I can't reach it. But anyway, they were digest sized, and I remember reading, oh, wait a minute, excuse me. It was not those. It was World's Finest Magazine reprinting or maybe having new Ditko Creeper stories. I would imagine they were probably reprints. But yeah, he bought a little kid that can make people old. I remember that now. But yeah, it was old World's Finest comics that I had that had the Creeper there. I probably could have finished off this whole series. And this is one of those books in the early 70s where these were some of the superstars of the future came from, right? The Sword and Sorcery line that DC was doing and some other things that were going on in the Bronze Age. But I'm positive this is one of the first books. I want to say Howard Chaykin or somebody like that. I need to do my research a little bit. I used to know this stuff off the top of my head, right? But anyway, Sword of Sorcery, where we have Fafnir and the Grey Mouser coming out there. Number 1. This has been something I wanted for a while because I have a few scattered issues. There weren't many. And I could have finished them out, but they were like $10 to $18 a piece for all of them. So I just went with the first issue. Wanted to pace myself. I can go back. Then I had to get this beautiful copy of Doc Savage from probably 73 or 74. This thing is close to 50, if not 50 years old, where Marvel had the license there for a little bit. So I'm guessing this is probably Steve Englehart is what I'm thinking. Steve Englehart, I don't know if they were adapting Doc Savage books or if this is brand new, right? Never really had the opportunity to really get into these. But I've been reading a little bit of Doc Savage here and there stuff, right? And then there's those times where we just collect what we love, okay? And one of the things I absolutely love is Joe Kubert edited DC Edgar Rice Burroughs books. Tarzan, Carson, Venus of Mars, John Carter on Mars, Carson of Venus, excuse me. It's Carson of Venus. John Carter, Warlord of Mars and stuff. So you had like the Tarzan book that came out with Korak. And then they had this Edgar Rice Burroughs Weird Worlds. I'm probably really close to getting this, but I finally found a number 1. So this is just fantastic. Very cool. Very happy to have found this. Yeah, on the Red Planet, John Carter, Warlord of Mars, faces a trial of fear. Plus, action, high adventure with David Innes at the Earth's core and stuff, right? Joe Kubert covers. These are just fantastic. Even if you were not an Edgar Rice Burroughs fan or even a Tarzan fan, the quality of the books were awesome. I often tell people from my point of view, and it makes for interesting conversation, at least, is that when it came to DC in the Bronze Age, they did put out some great books. Just stay away from the superhero stuff. It was like anything that wasn't superhero oriented. And I know we had Batman, Neil Gaiman, Neil Adams. I mean, there was some good stuff, but a majority of what they had that was really good, in my opinion, were not the superhero stuff, right? Commandy, OMAC, post-apocalyptic stuff, genres. Some of this stuff was a fine line in between it. Bernie Wrightson stuff, horror books. That was the really good stuff. And then of course you had like the Neil Adams Batman and some random stuff here and there that actually read pretty good, but few and far between, man. Okay, so this one step closer to getting all 70 issues of this book, the book I could kick myself for not getting while it came out. Matt Wagner, Steve Skeets has had Guy Davis on it. There were 70 issues in an annual in this one shot where Golden Age Sandman actually, oh, guy, he's still, Guy Davis was in this issue. Fine, man, that's awesome. But anyway, it's Sandman Mystery Theater of the 90s from the Vertigo, right? Just a fantastic, I mean, we get film noir, we get pulp, um, we get social issues actually as part of the story, showing how things were in the. I, I don't know what kind of. I always say this. I don't know what kind of research that Matt Wagner did and then things like that, but it's amazing because he's able to build this world of the 1930s and make it feel real to where I can hear car sirens, I can hear foghorns, and I can smell the lead in the gas when they didn't make unleaded gas. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's so good. I could tell he took some of this knowledge also when he did Grendel Meets the Shadow, and I'm probably getting that the senses being lit up. I probably took it from that book or something to describe it, you know. All right. So Mastodon's here. What's up? I have one of those Heroes Incorporated books. Oh, awesome, man. Oh, what's going on with the cap here, man? I've been thinking the same, Tim, seeing how frail Frank Miller looks. Can you believe this year is the 40th anniversary of Ronin? I blew some minds a few years ago in 2001 when I popped up with the issue of Daredevil that the Kingpin popped up. And I told the story about how there's 3 panels in there where John Byrne was talking to Frank Miller about what he was going to do with the Kingpin. And John Byrne told him, what you do is you draw Kingpin exactly how he's drawn at the time, you know, Ramita style, more or less. And then he said, you have him light up a cigar. And when the, you know, and when the lighter goes out, you draw him your way. There's an actual transformation of Kingpin going from a Spider-Man villain to a Miller character. And I told them that was 40 years. Sleepy Reader and a few people were like, holy, they freaked out. They were like 40 years. Yeah. So yes, Ronin being 40 years old blows my mind because I did not get to read Ronin probably until about 86 or 87. Well, after it, you know, it already been out. Oh, Sandman Mr. Theory has everything a comic reader could want. Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk about a forgotten gem out there. Sword of Sorcery was a fun read. Absolutely. I love that stuff. I love that stuff. And I'm completing this. I think I came close to actually having a full set of this. And the person who writes this book actually just lives 2-3 hours from here, or at least he used to. And what happened was, is just kind of, I felt like the book just kind of like got drug out. And then all of a sudden the book ended. And I was like, well, of course it did. So now it's a series that I want to complete. But it's volume 2 of Books of Magic number 48 with some fantastic Kaluta covers. This is from 97. But I was very close to having all 75 issues. And I have a friend who collects these also. So I went through and sold him a few filler issues he needed to complete his set. And I was like, I'll back up and get mine. And here we are again, right? But the guy who wrote this really was sort of nervous and freaking out because he was like, I'm supposed to follow up Neil Gaiman, you know, and they were like, you can do this, you can do it, right? So again, 90s Vertigo, if you're in that, Timothy Hunter, um, you know, the either the original or second, it's number 2, original Harry Potter before Harry Potter. Yeah, this is a character where Neil Gaiman was very gracious about Timothy Hunter and Harry Potter, and was like, "Oh, we have the same influences. That's what's going on, right?" Now, again, in that idea, hey, what's up, Scott? Good to see you, man. Scott Connor, say hello, everybody. Say hello, Scott. So Jack Kirby, you collect what you want and stuff, right? And Walt Simonson was a Kirby nut from the first day he saw a Kirby comic. And if you know John Byrne, that's a whole other level of worship there, right? So they kind of got together there, and they ended up taking over the New God stuff, the Fourth World stuff in the late 90s. Starting around 97, I think it was. They had a series, another volume of New Gods come out, and I think they took over around issue 13, ended that, merged a whole bunch of characters, and just did Jack Kirby's Fourth World. And then they had amazing backups in this. They had Art Adams doing a backup story, Frank Miller did a backup story, Howard Chaykin did a backup story, Arthur Adams did a backup story, and they collected them in a trade, right? But that series was called Jack Kirby's Fourth World, and then at the same time, you had Simonson, you know, doing covers for this back and forth, playing around with it, and then he did 25 issues of an Orion story, Dark Side's Sun, and everything like that. So I'm piecing those back together, and I swore I had this many times. Now my problem with this is I've tried to complete the story. I ended up double dipping quite a bit. I might have 3 issues of number 8 and thought I had number 2 or something, right? But yeah, great stuff. Straightforward comic book stuff, not Shakespeare, but just fun stuff. Now, this one I could kick myself, right? My brother was gracious enough to find this, and I found a Heroes Con guide that told you all the creators that were here at Heroes Con in 1997. It had a George Perez cover on it, and we looked closer at it. It was signed by George Perez and a whole bunch of creators that were at that Heroes Con there, right? So I gave him that because I have stuff signed by George Perez, and he threw this at me, right? Because, you know, but when I got this, I did not like this book when it came out in 2000, and I didn't get another one, but I carried this around for like 16 years, and then I sold it in 2016. I thought I was lucky to, and I actually sold it in a lot of comics, right? The local library that was around the corner from me let me know they were having a yard sale in their parking lot, and I could set up for free and sell some stuff. So I got rid of about 2 or 3 boxes of comics of stuff I was just taking up room and didn't think I'd ever read again, and this was in it. Little did we know that years later that James Gunn would come up and say there's going to be a Creature Commandos cartoon coming up. And a lot of people went after the James DeMantis original stuff in Weird War Tales, but it's going to be closer based to this 2000 series, written by Tim Truman, Scott Eaton, and stuff. But for what, 20% off of $3, I ended up finding this #1 Creature Commandos. If you are into the speculation parts of this stuff and everything, this is still not the team, but this is closer to where he was going with it and stuff, right? The James DeMantis Creature Commandos back in the Weird War Tales and stuff, that's still fantastic stuff also, and it deserves to be a key, you know, the first one, in my opinion. But yeah, this is closer to what they're going for. Sort of like a Suicide Squad, but we're going to use supernatural creatures and people who are already dead as an experiment. That's where I think he's going with it. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that in one of the Amanda Waller series that everybody is like, why is he doing an Amanda Waller TV show? I'm suspecting it's going to be sprinkled with guest stars and live action heroes. I could see a Creature Commandos cartoon coming out, and then when Amanda Waller like walks around in her show, we get a surprise live action version of them. That would be very cool. That's how I would do it. Surprise everybody. Oh man, we got some people here. Yeah, there we go. Hey, I have some comics. Don't participate if they haven't a lot of success previously. It's an advertising type of thing all day long. Gotcha. Comic shop. Gotcha. I followed that. We speak the same. Tim Truman did Creature Commandos. New to me. Yeah, and I remember not being impressed. I love Tim Truman. I love his stuff. You know what I mean? But I remember reading that, and it could have just been too jarring at the time. You know what I mean? Tim Truman doing Scout. We know what Tim Truman has done. Hawk World, all that stuff. I've met him several times at the cons and stuff. Twice at Baltimore, and then several times at Heroes Con. With a little bit of everybody, you know, when I meet up with people. So he's cool. I'll just give it a second chance there. Oh, this is why con dealers have Waller books. How funny. Waller. He's making a pun, guys. Yeah. He also did Time Beavers. I need to give Time Beavers a second chance. I just do. Okay. I got 2 more things here. I should have arranged these to pop with some of those Bronze Age books and stuff, right? So I grabbed these because I'm just an Art Adams guy, and I don't know what's going on. It's not going to happen, but I've got some random issues of Gen 13 here and there, right? If for some reason I don't want to buy them, I just want to borrow somebody's Gen 13 from back in the day and read them, because I'm not expecting a lot. So imagine my surprise to find out that there was a mini series that Arthur Adams plotted and drew, where it was Gen 13 meets Monkey Man and O'Brien. And this is the variant cover I found out. I never heard of this, never knew this came out. I've got Gen 13 meets the Max. I've seen Gen 13 meets Superman or whatever and stuff. But this, you throw in Art Adams drawing anything and I am there, right? So yeah, Monkey Man and O'Brien meets Gen 13. Simply because it's plotted and drawn by Art Adams, I will be tracking these down. And then I've grabbed Dark Horse Presents. I actually had a stack of these, and I was like, what am I doing? I put back some concrete. Yes, I know somebody out there is going to be like, are you stupid? I put back a little bit of concrete. I put back some Dark Horse concrete. I have his first appearance of Dark Horse Presents that I found for like $1 up in Northern Virginia or something like that. But anyway, I grabbed this number 118 because it is Arthur Adams, Monkey Man and O'Brien. Monkey Man and O'Brien, he came up with a way to draw monsters and gorillas, probably his two favorite things if I had to imagine. All right. I was just excited to hear that they were going to do anything with Creature Commandos no matter the incarnation, though I would prefer Weird War Tales. Yeah. It's just cool that they're getting beyond the Trinity. I have an opinion that you need the Trinity no matter what's going on. I'm kind of iffy about Wonder Woman. I really don't. I've never considered Wonder Woman part of the Trinity, but she's very important. But I get what they're coming from. I get why they're doing that. But there's just been like this whole, they've got, when you grow up and you read official handbook of the Marvel universe, both volumes, and then you read Who's Who in the DC universe and all the updates just for fun. And then you read things like Legion of Superheroes. I'm always like, they've got so many things to pick from. What is their problem? They've got, somebody needs to like really dig in there and find there's a lot of cool stuff. Oh, a mosquito. I got the first mosquito of the year of our Lord 2023. But anyway, they have so many things that would work, and I'm sitting here like, they're going with fucking Booster Gold. Come on, man. I'm like, so yeah. Oh man, what we got here? Unpopular opinion, Monkey Man and O'Brien was the best thing Art Adams ever did. I felt there was a lot of passion in his art in that. And when I say passion, I'm not talking about deep, emotional, artistic things like that. I'm talking about like fun. You know what I mean? Like he was having a good time on it. You could tell. I heard that the Baltimore Con this year, there will be a First Comics reunion with Mike Grell, Howard Chaykin, and Steve Rude, and I think Mark Hempel, among others. It's funny you're bringing that up, Gore, because when I did the Fossil show on Wednesday, I can't remember if it was on air or when we were waiting to go on air, but Charlton 66 lives near Baltimore, and he dropped that little bomb on all of us and stuff. And I'm playing around with the idea of driving up there. I don't know. Steve Rude is the rumor. Gotcha. Oh, Steve Ruse is a rumor. I got it. I know who he's talking about. So the last two things I got, and I'm not going to tell you what I did not go back and get because I forgot. We were getting hungry. You know what I mean? Like we started out early in the morning. I picked my brother up. We had another hour drive. I had to stop and get some coffee. Then we went through the boxes, and then we went out to another, I don't know what it was, 30 minutes to the flea market. Flea market was huge. We barely hit half of it. And what I did not know is I think grain of salt on the company because I didn't go back and get it because I never knew it existed. But apparently, if you're a fan of Grimjack, guys, apparently they put out some odd sized omnibus of that, and somebody had the second omnibus for $5 or maybe $10. I think it was 5, and I meant to go back and get it, but I found all this other stuff, and it just completely blew my mind. We get about 5 miles down the road from the place, and I'm like, so I meant to get that. But why did I not pick up that omnibus of Grimjack that had like issues 31 to 57 or whatever it was, right? Well, it's because I found these. And my brother remembered that I had this very issue here and set it in front of the guy. So I'm glad the guy didn't jack the price up. He had these for $4 and $3. I got both of these for $5. But these are the best of DC Blue Ribbon Digest. This came out in '85, so this has got the best Batman stories of 1984. It's got my favorite Batman special by Mike Golden drawing it, where Batman meets his dark half, the Wraith, if you will, if you're into that stuff. And then we skip ahead a year, not to 1986. Look at those covers. Tell me they're not the yeah. Anyway, and this is the best team books of. This came out in '86, so probably these were the best team books that came out in '85. The year's best team books, and I have every one of them that's in here. A Legion story, Infinity Incorporated story, number 50 of the New Teen Titans, where Donna Troy got married, and everybody was like him. She's getting married to him. And we had that classic issue of Batman and the Outsiders, where at Christmas, Joe Force and Superman went at it. I have all of these off the rack. So cracks me up. And I can't get out of here without giving a pity story and stuff, right? But I'm kind of upset. Man, I'm lucky it was this book, and I want to have to do it. But my cats have betrayed me, and I know which one it was. I'm going to send this book to forensics, a CSI, and we're going to get samples. We're going to make molds of their teeth and find out who did it and stuff, right? But I laid this Zod out to getting into this 80s alternative kick here and stuff, right? But from Eclipse Comics, I bought this a few weeks ago out of a dollar bin, I think. And it was $2 when it came out in the 80s. But this is number 15 of Zot. And I asked around about some people. I may have shown it here or somewhere, and people, have said they read it. And then there's been people that said that they've started reading it a few years ago, and they wish, and their only real comment was, I wished I was reading it when it came out. But one of the cats got a hold of it and chewed the corner up, and they bit all to where 2-3 of their teeth marks go all the way through. So there will be an investigation, and we will find, there it is. We will find out which cat did this. So there will be repercussions, people. All right, guys. So thanks for joining me tonight. Like I said, we're getting up in the morning, wife, step kid, all of us. We're going to do a hike, 4 hours, 4-mile round trip. And then we may be checking out the Guardians of the Galaxy movie somewhere if we get out of the woods in time. I've heard mixed results. I heard they actually did the High Evolutionary right. I've heard that I may think the movie's lame if I'm a big fan of those movies. It'll be nice. This may be my last Marvel movie. I just don't have the urge to watch them, but this is the end of a trilogy. I've enjoyed the first 2 movies very much. My favorite Marvel movies are probably the Captain America movies because of the tone when they took things seriously. And then like the Guardians of the Galaxy came out and the video is up. People forget that when Guardians of the Galaxy was starting to come up, people were getting a little bit dramatic, saying they were like, this is going to flop. Nobody knows these characters. I have the video from 2013 or 14 where I'm like, it's got a raccoon with a gun. Of course it's going to be huge. So we'll see how this does. This could be the last time Howler Mouse goes to see a Marvel movie unless they come out with something that really interests me or bring out some real characters and take things a little bit more seriously with their tone. Okay, let me see. No spoilers, man. I want to make sure there's no spoilers before I read these. Yes, the Grimjack Omnibuy, like I said, they're not huge. They're paperback and they're thick, and they're not sized. They're like, I don't know, they're smaller than a comic, but bigger than a digest. I didn't know they existed either. And apparently the first one had like the first, 30 issues in it. The second one, if I remember right, the one I could have bought, seems like it was issue 31 to 57. So yeah, I was surprised. I meant to go back and get it, and my brother was laughing. He was like, "It's Grimjack. I'm pretty sure it'll still be there." I didn't want to say that people come and go at flea markets like gypsies. Somebody may not buy the book, but the vendor may not be there next time I can get down there. I think Matt Gorell did some work on one of the Blue Ribbon Digest. I swear I think there's one with some warlord stories in it or something. Like I said, my brother, it was very cool having my brother there because he was like, "Oh man, you had that," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." What do we got here? She's getting married to him. The cats have taste. Notice they didn't touch a Liefeld book. There's no feet to nibble on. And they got a toe fetish. Oh, Sequential Geek. It was trash. I like to do a hike when I need to mow the grass before it decides to rain again. Yeah, I hear you, man. It's that kind of season. I like Karen Gillian with her hair down. Yep, yep. I'm luckily I still remember her debut on the first episode of Matt Smith's Doctor Who. When Star Lord challenged the villain to dance off, that's when I started rooting for the villain. Another MCU money I regret spending. I heard Karen Gillan would like to play Poison Ivy. Well, James Gunn today gave people the option on Twitter to ask yes and no questions only. And one of the questions he answered and said, "Will there be Guardians of the Galaxy actors in the DCU?" And he said yes. So that could be the one. Who knows? I'm sure he'll bring over. Oh God, Batista. I'm sure they'll find something for him if I had to imagine. She'd be perfect. Yeah, Karen Gillan would be one of the. Yeah, I could see Karen Gillan being it. I'm not going to lie, man. To me, Poison Ivy is supposed to be femme fatale. You know what I mean? So it's probably a good thing I'm not casting this stuff in today's environment or world. But it'd have to be somebody very voluptuous. You know what I mean? Somebody that could play a femme fatale, not do it slutty. Do it. I don't know what am I thinking of here. What's that style of dance where they use the feathers and they don't burlesque, not stripper, but burlesque and artful and stuff, and you know somebody who like understands men and how to manipulate them. She to me, I would love to see Poison Ivy be played a little bit more like maybe film noir or more like a Sherlock Holmes villain. I don't know if anybody gets what I'm saying here. Oh, with my luck, he would get Andy Dick to play Ambush Bug. Oh, oh, no, no. The Guardians of the Galaxy cast signed a petition when Gunn got fired. I don't think they would be welcome to stay. No skin off their back. Oh, Sequential Geek. There's other channels you can be watching where they go after them. We all watch them. You know, so that they all these channels like Ryan Kelly and oh my God, who is it? Nerdrotic and Hills versus Babyface. There's tons of people that as soon as they hear Disney, they just have to like put out the video that it's trash. And they're right about 90% of the 95% of the time. Let's be real. Burlesque. Yes, yes. Okay, man, that is it, guys. So thanks for meeting us here. It is now at 11:34. I've got about 30 minutes more than I wanted, but hey, you guys are good company, so not a bad thing. So we're going to be getting up about 7 or 7:30 in the morning, and we'll be traveling for a hike and maybe getting a biscuit on the way. All right, guys. You guys be excellent to each other. Have a great night, and good to see you, man. Later, guys.